And welcome to another episode of the In 90 Minutes podcast. Um, I'm your host today, Ahmed Salim. With me is John and David, and we just lost David, so I think he will be back shortly. But thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the show. As always, through good and bad. Lately, it's mostly terrible. We're gonna get into that today. We're gonna talk about it all. I think we're probably there's a little bit of stuff to talk about, but I just wanted to say something quickly while we're waiting for David to join back because I think both sides of this debate are missing the bigger picture. So let me give you a quick analogy. Um, so stick with me here. Imagine somebody's been in a severe accident, life or death, and the question on the table is, do you apply a tourniquet? A tourniquet is never comfortable. It's not a permanent fix. It's tight, aggressive, and yeah, if you apply it wrong or leave it on for too long, you can cause more damage. But the purpose is to stop the bleeding long enough to get your real solution. You're buying time, you're preserving options because if you wait too long, the patient's going to bleed out and then there's no more options. So now let's talk about our team because we are bleeding, and I don't mean emotionally, I mean statistically. 3 games, 0 points, 11 goals conceded, a -8 goal differential. We are pacing worse on defense than our 2018 team, which we all know was the darkest season in our history. And that team gave up 74 goals and finished dead last. So the question is, what do we do about it? Because we've heard people saying it's a new roster, give it time. There's a transition period. And you know what? I can respect that because on the surface it sounds reasonable. You say, okay, there's a lot of new factors, they need time, blah blah blah. But here's my problem with that. That transition argument only works if the bleeding started with the new roster, and it didn't. Last year, same coach, better players. We finished ninth in the Eastern Conference. We had 63 goals, which were our highest total under Pareja, but we still fell backwards in the standings. The year before, we finished fourth. The year before that, we finished second. The decline has been happening for 3 years. The new roster did not open the wound, it just took the bandage off. But that's not even the worst part. And this is the part that really irks me and what I really want people to let sink in because I think we're being played. And I say this with all love for this club. Every year, there's this shiny object dangled in front of us. We made the playoffs. We won the Open Cup. We made the conference finals. Those things are real. I'm not taking them away. But what we have to understand is that 9 out of 15 conference teams make the playoff. That's 60%. When the majority gets in, that's not an accomplishment. It's just showing up. So 6 years under Pareja, 5 playoff appearances, never once making an MLS Cup final. We've been knocking on the door for 6 years and we haven't walked through it. At some point, a playoff berth stops being a destination and becomes a participation trophy. And that has to come to an end. I've said it over and over. We need to expect more from our team. And this is not about Pareja as a person. The man loves this club, and we've said over and over we love him, we respect him, and he deserves recognition as a part of the history of this club. But and his record puts him in the top 20 of all MLS coaches ever in points per game. But that system has reached its peak, and it peaked in 2023. We were just talking about that before this show. Points per game were 1.78 in 2020. They shot up to 1.85 in 2023, which is the best we've ever seen. And since then, it's been declining year after year. And the bigger issue with this is that the league didn't stay still. Other teams, I'm not going to name the teams, they all got sharper, they all got more dynamic, they all signed people, they all did things. What did we do? We were in the same system, and the conference standings told the story that the point totals tried to hide, right? Because we felt good on the outside, but on the inside, you can't run the same approach for 7 years in a league that keeps reinventing itself every 18 months and expect to keep pace with the teams. It does not work. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So back to that tourniquet analogy that I was using before. Right now, we're still in that window where applying it works. 3 games in, we still have 31 to go. A change today or even after the Montreal game Saturday gives us a new voice, gives us a new system, and time to actually build something before the season is statistically gone. Because if we wait, if we do what we did in 2018, shuffling coaches in July when the season's already over is going to be a disaster. We don't just lose the game, we lose the whole limb, right? The players check out, the fan trust erodes, and we waste another year of our best players' primes because we have some really great players. And guess what? They don't want to do sit around and just waste their time. Timing is everything, and we are right now today in the window where that change still matters. Window does not stay open forever. The question isn't is Oscar capable? The question has his chapter run its course with this team? When your points per game is declining and your conference position has dropped 7 spots in 2 years, you've never made a cup final, and you're pacing to rival the worst season in your team's history, I think that answer is yes, right? And we're saying this not because we're giving up, but because we believe in what this club can become, not just a playoff appearance, but a championship. Because again, making the playoffs in the conference isn't an accomplishment anymore. It's a low bar that we've set, and 6 years of clearing a low bar isn't a legacy, it's a plateau, right? And I think we're all tired of that, and that's what you're starting to see. So, with that, I will shut up now and let the gentleman speak. Ah, I had to get that off my chest. John, David, anything you guys want to say? I usually say happy Monday at this point, but I can't even bring myself to say that at this point. I think we
Yeah,
can.
I'll go since John is gone for the moment. I have to preface this. I did not watch the game live. I was in Dallas, Texas, on a work event. Um, and I remember I'm like, oh, 2:30 the game starts, but I forget that I'm an hour behind the East Coast, so it's 1:30. So at 1:30, my phone starts going bunkers. 30 minutes later, it's vibrating off the table. People are asking me if everything is okay, and I don't know. It's my friends from a podcast that I do. When I get to review the messages and see the what's going on social media, I was dumbfounded. I was expecting a defeat. We have talked about this field before. We have talked about the advantage that this place is for New York City, and quite honestly, I was expecting a defeat. The last time we won there was years ago. This is the first time we get a 5-0 result. I believe 2 or 3 years ago that happened the same way. And the fact of the matter is a really bad problem for us as a club because, like Ahmed has said, year after year, we're told this is the year. We have been told when we have questioned Oscar that he is the manager that has been the most successful, this and that and the other. But right now, this is the worst start for Orlando City ever, 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 guys. Okay, we have never lost 3 games in a row to start the season. This is the worst. We have taken in what 11 goals. We have scored 3, and on this last game we completely failed to score a goal. We are dead last in the league. We're like the last team. We're 30th in the supporter shield race. Doesn't get worse than this. Doesn't get worse than this. I was at a basketball game yesterday. It was a friendly for a Puerto Rico basketball league. My hometown team was in Orlando. I've not seen them in over 30 years, so I wanted to go. And even then, I ran into a listener. My apologies because I didn't ask you for your name, but you came to me immediately. Yo, Oscar has to go. And seeing the pain that this man is displaying to me was devastating because the what you keep hearing from people is the disappointment, and some people are like, "Oh, I wish the Wolves sold the team. I wish this, that, and that." The problems are systematic. The problems are systematic. We remain playing a system that probably worked 5 years ago, but it's not working now. It's not working out. It's like buying a VCR and wondering 10 years later, why can't you find movies for the VCR? Right? I mean, we all, we are. Well, John is a millennial, but Ahmed and I are Gen Xers. We experience going from nothing to VHS to CD to DVDs, the 8 track LPs to 8 track to cassettes to CDs to digital. If you were born in the 70s or 60s, you have seen technology move at an incredible pace. What was hot today is obsolete tomorrow. It's same here. Same with the game of football. The styles, the players, everything has changed, and it's ludicrous to pretend that staying the course is the course of action. People approached us as a podcast, different sources saying that Oscar is gone. I was expecting the corner flag post with Oscar well. I'm sorry. It's Monday 9/13. That has not happened, and to be quite honest, I'm disappointed about that because the longer we continue, and I finish with this, the longer we continue, the season cannot be saved. If we have less than 10 points by April 1st, I kept saying by April 1st. If we have less than 10 points, we are not going to save the season. Unless we have this monumental a moment. I want to remind everybody when Messi got to Miami, they were 15th, 14th or 15th on in the East time, and even after he won them game after game after game, it was impossible for them to make up the difference, and they did not make playoffs that year. Imagine you bring Messi to a team that was fairly okay. I think the Neville didn't do well with them, didn't set them up to succeed. But at the end of the day, they failed to do that. Are we to expect Oscar Pareja to magically find his winning ways? I have lost faith. Vote of no confidence. Like Ahmed have said, we love the man. We everything that he's done for the club. I just think it's time to move on and to seek new ideas and to thank Oscar so he won't destroy his legacy with the fan base. I'd rather him walk out through the front door wide open than to be hushed in the middle of the night through the side door and have bucks. That's my opinion. And I know that Oscar's family loves to watch and listen to the podcast. I say that with a lot of pain in my heart. It's nothing personal. I just cannot fund with my money what we have here. I don't think in the Montreal that destroyed Red Bulls this past Saturday shows up Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry, this past Sunday, yesterday, shows up Saturday. My friends, it is a done deal. I don't think we'll ever go over 15,000 in that stadium, if that.
Yeah, and just as a follow up on your point about the 10 games, we had that poll that we put out last week. We had a couple of polls. So we asked how many wins do you think we'll have in our first 10 matches? I'll put the results up here on the screen so those of you who are watching can see. But it looks like total combined, about 68% of our listeners believe that we'll have less than 2 wins, 2 wins or less. Because 39% say one, 29 say two. Those are the highest two categories. That adds up to about 68%, right? And if that's true, that means 68% of the listeners believe that we'll have less than 6 points by the end of April. That in itself is a disaster if that is true. But I mean, when you look at the matches that we have, we'd be lucky if we even get those. The way we're playing now, anyway. I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and go through the comments. We have a couple comments from before the show and one new one before I go ahead and go. Especially because kind of what the newest comment is. So Carlos is me. Went off. I agree with essentially everything he says. But he says Wilfs will not fire Poppy until he reaches end of contract. It's not the way they operate. In 22 seasons with the Vikings, they only had 4 head coaches with a total record of 183 wins and 161 losses. He continues, only 3 wins and 8 playoff appearances in 21 years is the furthest they ever got under the Wilfs, they being the Vikings. What can you expect from that type of ownership group? Hot take: the Wilfs bought the property in Orlando that had a team attached to it. They are just here for land deals and development. They're going to start leasing out the stadium for concerts and others. We lost whatever made Orlando City great with Phil Rawlings selling the team to Flavio and then the Wilfs. We're going to lose a lot of talent both on the field and in the front office because nobody is going to take the risk of dying here. The Wilfs know that just like the NFL teams, there's no relegation, and therefore they will always have the team in a top flight league in the U.S., so there's no point to spend money on improvements. Um, it's Jimmy D. Again, the front office has to do something to show they care. With nothing done, you can only conclude they are complacent or apathetic. They have to try. It doesn't have to work, but they have to try. Thomas8304 says, like Oscar, he's a good coach. And he has had a positive influence, but it's time for a new. Oops, sorry, I forgot to highlight those guys. That's Jimmy D's comment there. And Thomas8304's comment there. Oscar, he's a good coach and he has had a positive influence, but it's time for a new era. And then Josh Elvey. Hi guys, overseas fan here. Is window still open? Who are we trying to sign except Griezmann? I don't think we were bad at offense at all, but for God's sake, sign a veteran goalkeeper and a PL center back. As far as the window being open, yes. Technically, Crepeau is a veteran goalkeeper, believe it or not, even though what we saw Saturday.
And an
I
MLS champion goalkeeper at
yeah,
that.
but I have not heard of us trying to sign anybody else. It sounds like we're standing pat. Um, but I wanted to focus on the people trying to blame the roster and the moves in the off season. We brought in a total of 6 individuals this off season to replace what we lost. We brought in Tiago, which was more of an addition, a supplement to the team more than a replacement. He for his old club, Bahia, and the Serie A of Brazil. Got plenty of minutes off the bench. Contributed with 11 goals in 52 matches. I don't have the total number of minutes he played to give you a goals per 90, but was a contributor in the probably the toughest league in South America. We brought in Luis Otavio, midfielder from Internacional in Brazil, one of the bigger clubs. Anybody that's seen his highlight film knows that the guy can play. But again, he's only been on the pitch for one match, and that was this past weekend. We brought in Iago, started a lot for. We brought him in from Flamengo, arguably one of the biggest clubs in Brazil. Started for them in some cup matches. Also, this tells you the type of player he is. Was a captain of the Brazil U20s. Played in the U20 World Cup for them. Captained them there. Has played in the some other competitions for them as well as captain for the Brazil U20s. So all three the 3 Brazilians that we brought in we know can play. For whatever reason, they come here and especially Iago looks like he's running in mud. We bring in Crepeau to replace Galese, and we bring in Dorsey, Griffin Dorsey, which Dorsey everybody's favorite. You know, I would say favorite transfer this season. He's really shown his quality. Um, but Crepeau has been decent at times, and at other times, such as this past Saturday, been pretty bad. So, to me, anybody saying that the roster is tanking, other than those six players, coming in and having to replace the players that we lost, um, basically the same team. I forgot Brian Ojeda. My apologies. I did forget we brought in Brian Ojeda as well, which is another decent, decent player. Um, but you look at the team, and yes, is left back a gaping hole right now. They took a chance on Marin. Doesn't seem to be working out. Sometimes you have to take risks, and that in the sport, and he just doesn't seem to be working out. Um, so to me, anybody that's saying that the roster is the reason that we haven't even drew a match is wrong. Um, other than players not performing, which isn't something new under Puppy. How many players have we brought in outside of Muriel? Because Muriel was a personal thing. He's doing the same thing down in where is he? Argentina, I believe, Colombia, wherever he's
Colombia.
at. Yeah, he's doing the same thing for them, and he's getting reamed out by their fans as well. So, but you look at players that we brought in with Poppy that have performed at other places, we bring them in here, and they lay a dud. So it's nothing new to see this with a Poppy led team. We go with the young guys. We go with Tahir Reed Brown starting at left back. Colin Gusky, obviously, he was suspended for the New York match, but he's been playing a lot for. He's been putting in the minutes for us. Like we said last year, if we would have been playing these young guys more consistently, these guys would have been a little more prepared for their time in the spotlight like they're not. Now, Gusky's played, I think, in my opinion, Gusky's played excellent.
Hmm.
Hugh Reed Brown, he's shown what he can do. I don't know what's going on with him and why. It was very obvious Saturday that he was giving too much space. That's watching him in OCB, and David, you can confirm or say I'm completely false. Um, Watching him in OCB the last couple seasons, he seems to always be on the attacker's hip or back when they receive the ball. So I don't know. To me, that's something I don't know if it's because he's nervous or if it's something that's coached
I
or
think it
what.
was the field or the pitch. I don't want to call it a pitch, not to insult the sport. It's a field, okay? And John, like I said, I have huge problems with what MLS called a temporary fix. It's 12 seasons in it, and we continue. To be honest with you, the people that had the worst problems with this pitch or this field were the young guys because obviously they probably haven't played in a surface like this since U12s. I mean, it's ridiculous. MLS denies this. It is an advantage. Go take your phone out of your pocket and ask your phone who has the best home record in MLS, and it's gonna be NYC FC. Why? They have lifted a supporter shield. They have made a final. They have done a lot because they win their home games, and on the road is a toss up. It's a toss up. The teams much better than Orlando have gone there and have looked like they just learned to kick a ball on the way to the tunnel. That's the reality of it all. So I personally, like I said, I personally, every time we go on the, well, by the way, my respect to everybody that jumped on an airplane to go witness that debacle. I gotta be honest with you. It's voted the worst away day in MLS. Voted by the fans, voted by the players, voted by anybody that has two eyes in their head. It's one of the worst surfaces. Makes for awful television. I couldn't believe that. Now I have to say something that I spoke with the Spanish announcer, our good friend Sergio Ruiz, who was doing the call for on the Spanish side of Apple Plus. For those that don't know, that are new to the club or whatnot, they he was a Spanish voice for Orlando City since 2015 till a few years till the first year for Apple Plus. He's Orlando City through and through, and he told me the worst thing that he had to do that day is score 5 goals, a red card, all this other stuff against Orlando City. He told me that the staff looked like they had accepted their fate, whatever that is. He's not saying anything other than I looked at them. They looked very discouraged. They look, at the end, they looked like people without any idea of how to get out of that hole they had placed themselves in. And to me, that's problematic because a dynamic manager plans ahead and can think on their feet and correct the situations that we place ourselves in. It seems to me that many times, if the cruelty of football shows up, we are late to respond to that, and that's why we have, if we don't score in the first half, or we don't score first, we have a hard time sealing the game. What happened against Miami was probably, and you guys correct me, the first time in our club history where we are ahead by 2 goals, and we end up dropping the game. We have been ahead and we have let it tie, but not win. You have at this point Oscar Pareja, and you know what? Oscar Pareja obviously doesn't play, but he's the manager, and he says the blame starts and ends with him. So I'm gonna say it. Oscar Pareja's team has allowed 9 goals unanswered since the second half of not this past weekend, the one before. 9 goals. And we're gonna go play a very inspired Montreal without our number one keeper. Ojeda is gonna be the no, not Ojeda. Otero is gonna be the guy between the sticks. Is he ready? Is he ready to deliver? We don't know. We don't know because we have an inconsistent roster. We look like the Walking Dead. Where injuries everywhere. To be honest with you, you can go to Orlando Health's ER right now and probably pick a better starting 11 out of all the wounded in that they're waiting for care. It's ridiculous. And I'm gonna say it. It's it's a tall ask when Duncan McGuire and Duncan perhaps this a lack of experience or immaturity. I'm 30 plus years older than you, so I'm gonna give you one for free, my friend. If your father hasn't already picked up the phone and told you this, sometimes if 20 years of marriage have told me anything, sometimes you shut the hell up. You don't say anything. Saying nothing is better than saying anything. If you were asked a rhetorical question, you don't tell the fans that for 12 seasons have been seeing Atlanta, Miami, New York City, FC Cincinnati, all these other teams that came after them, lift trophies, lift trophies, and hey, stop it. Lift trophies and supporter shields. You don't tell them you need patience. You need patience. We need time to gel. I'm sorry. The time to gel, the time to figure things out was in preseason. And I finished with this. When we went to that preseason, all of us, all the five guys that are on the show, and we left thinking that the sky was going to fall on top of our heads. People on Facebook, people on social media They said that we were overreacting. People, it's just preseason. They need time. The same thing. Time to gel. Time for Oscar to meet his players. And our good friend Jonathan quoted me on Then After Dark, well, our friends of Orlando Lions then, where he used the one argument where I disable this rhetoric every single time. My English team, Stevenage, had 7 games left. It was looking at relegation. Hire a man by the name of Steve Evans, who came in with no budget, no window, no players, no time to gel, no time to do anything, and he had to win 5 of the last 7 games to save Stevenage from dropping out of the EFL. That's what a manager does. When you walk into like a fireman, you walk into the fire and you solve the problem. Oscar has been given an eternity in football terms. 6 years, 7 seasons to figure this out. And we are here looking at everybody laugh at us. We're worse than 2018. We're worse than with James O'Connor. And you know what? I'm not going to the game this Saturday. I think I have put my wife second for far too long. The 31st is my 20th anniversary, so I need to start making amends. I'll watch it. I'll watch the game from home, but I'm not gonna go and spend $30 to park, take time away from my family to go sit section three, row K, seat one to see this debacle in an empty stadium. In an empty stadium, because that's what's gonna happen. That's the future of Orlando City. And I'm sorry, guys. Jesus, I'm Mark Wilf. Mark Wilf. We were told that you watched the game, that you were disappointed, this and that. Listen, drop the effing hammer already. Drop it. I know you bought all the property around the stadium. You have all these big plans, all these big things. Beautiful, man. Make as much money as you can. God bless you. Many brachas to you, my friend. Many brachas. So, but the truth is, the truth about all this is that we don't care about any of that. We care about winning and having a winning football club. And if you think that I'm gonna put my big shoes, my wig, my makeup, and my big red nose next year to give you more money so you can pull that crap on the field, you gotta think if you lose people like me, people like John, people like Ahmed, you are in trouble. You are in a lot of trouble. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where the supporters need to stop showing up. Plain and simple. Don't even sell the tickets because that means somebody else might go. Just stop showing up. You see it all over the sport. Every country. LA Galaxy did it a couple years ago. Um, because if the Wolves aren't willing to let Ricardo do what he needs to do, then the Wolves need to sell the team. If they've given Ricardo the opportunity to do what he needs to do, and he hasn't done it, then he needs to step aside. Poppy said he'll coach his team until he can no longer contribute. If you've lost what is it now, 5 matches in a row, 6 matches in a row, I've only won one match in 14 matches, 8 of those being losses. Pretty sure your contribution's over, pal. Like it's getting to the ridiculous part. That's why I named the show what I named it is enough. When is enough enough? Because to what David was saying earlier, we take this to the World Cup. We take this all the way to June and wait until then to fire him. Basically, too late. It's a little bit different than when Messi came to Miami because we do have the long international break. We still have more than half the season to go once we do resume play in July, but it's almost too late. And the fact that there's it baffles me. The fact that people can look and see what we've done to what Ahmed hit it at the beginning. To see what we did in 23. 23 was a fun season once you got into May. 23 was an extremely fun season June, July, August, most of September. But then we get in the playoffs. We win our first round, best of three or whatever it was. And then we play Columbus, a quality team, a team that ended up winning the cup that year. And what do? We go back to playing the way with the tactics we were playing with the first part of the season and lose. Yes, there was a red card and all, but still, again, what are we talking about right now? Lack of discipline on the team. That's what we had in that Columbus match. Lack of discipline. We had a center back getting two silly yellow cards. Um, lack of discipline was an issue last year. You look back and with the Arujo red. You look at with how Angulo acted whenever he was a lot of the times he was subbed off. There's other examples out there, but the fact of the matter is, this isn't a roster issue. This is a tactics issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is a how the team sets up. Jimmy D brought it up, and then there's other comments there that we'll get to in a moment. But he brought it up. Can Poppy please play players in their positions? Why is he always taking players and making them into different players? Spicer is a striker. Remember, Facundo is a right back. Play them in their positions. These are professional athletes that train and do position specific training daily. And when you stop doing that and you take them, and they've done that, somebody like Facundo, when he was put as a wing back, had been playing professionally at the top level for, at that point, it was the better part of 7 seasons, I believe. Because I believe he broke through with his team down in South America when he was 17, and he was 23, 24 when he was playing as a wingback. So he's been training 7 seasons to be a winger, and then all of a sudden you drop him to a wingback. Kind of the same position, but it's not the same position. Anybody that's played the sport knows there's a difference between playing winger and playing wingback. Anybody knows that there's a difference, going back to what we did with Dagger Dan, and it somehow worked, in playing a midfield position and playing right back. Yesterday at the OCB match, which we'll get to later, they had Tyke playing as a center back when he's a natural fullback. There's a massive difference there. So when you're playing with these players, and yes, the reserve team is a time you can experiment with players and their positioning, but when you're playing a center back as a left fullback, and the club isn't willing to go out and get a proper fullback, we take a risk on a guy that's played in the second division in Spain the last couple of seasons. When our owners are so cheap that there's gaping holes in our defense, and we have a little over a week left of almost 2 weeks left of the transfer window, and there hasn't been a hint at us getting a left back, hasn't been a hint in us bringing in a reserve or a backup center back, because when Janssen comes back, I'm sorry, I know because I'm a little bit older than he is, and you guys can attest to it too. He's getting up there in age. He's getting up there to where, yes, he might be ready to play and ready to train, but he's going to feel every tackle, every step on the foot, especially the next day, a lot more than he felt it 3-4 years ago. When he first 2-3 years ago when he first got that injury. So we're doing all this, and I was worried about it last year. I said we hadn't really made any adjustments to the team other than just trying to replace players. And it's showing this year. It's showing that we sell a player like Thomas Williams. Janssen gets injured. Now we're scrambling for another center back. Right now we only have 3 center backs on our roster. One of them's a 20-year-old who's from Brazil, and the other one's a draft pick, and then you have Brecalo. People want to complain about Brecalo, why he looks so good sometimes and looks bad in others. when you're not as a center back, it is crucial that you have full trust in your partner at center back that he's going to do what he doesn't want to do. Because as a center back, you cannot, just like a goalkeeper, you cannot hesitate in your decision to go and make the tackle or drop back. If there's if there's a split second hesitation, you're beat. And that's what I've seen when Brekalos look so bad. I've seen a bit of hesitation in him to go, should I step up? Should I stay back? Whichever whichever way that happens. There was that hesitation and he gets beat. And that has to do with trusting that your cohort at center back is gonna be there doing the job. That's part of what Janssen made Janssen so good, is he was so consistent at what he did and what he at his responsibilities, that it allowed Schlegel to be a little bit reckless. It allowed Brekalo to do what he wants to do and step up a little bit more. And until we're able to have a consistent starting center back, until we're able to stop playing players out of position, until we're able to start giving these young guys the minutes they need out of necessity and not out of default, why we're never going to go anywhere. We're going to continue to falter. We're going to continue to, well, I mean, right now you can't get much worse than we are because we're last place in the East and last place in the Supporters' Shield. We're going to continue to falter. Look at what, yes, Red Bulls got beat this last week, but look at what Red Bulls is doing. Look what, is it Salt Lake, wherever Bruce Arena went, they're playing some young guys. Look at these teams around the league that are playing their young guys. Look at Philadelphia. They've always been good at playing their young guys. Look at Dallas. After Poppy left, they were good at playing their young guys and had a couple good seasons. So until we can start giving our young guys the experience they need, or deciding which way we want to go, are we going to be a team that has an academy and produces good players for the league and for the national team and eventually they go abroad? Or are we going to be the team that brings in players from elsewhere and doesn't really have an academy? Because right now I feel like we're kind of stuck trying to do both, where we have this good academy, but we can't get players to appear on the first team unless it's by default. Gusky, has been playing by default because Wilder got hurt. Tahir Reed Brown is playing because Marin was out and has been awful since we got him. And people want to complain and say, "Oh, Reed Brown needs to be taken off. We need to drop somebody else back there." Who else are we going to drop back? The only two senior team true left backs that we have is Marin and Tahir Reed Brown. And in my opinion, Tahir Reed Brown's been playing differently than they've had him play the last two seasons at OCB and to what his strength is. He is the closest thing we have, closest player we have to an Alex Freeman. He's tall, he's fast, he's strong. His strength is being on the attack as a fullback. His strength is making that overlapping run to the corner and beating the opposing fullback with his speed. Not being basically a third center back in our attack. Not staying back and giving space. And that's how Poppy's been playing him. So we have comments, David. I'll go ahead and read through them, and then we can continue. Mark Rodriguez, friend Mark, he said it'll take an extraordinary change to turn this purple ship around, so you don't hit an iceberg and sink down to Bikini Bottom. If the Wolves stay the course, they might as well tank the season. John Ames, hey John, I haven't seen you comment in a while. Thanks for tuning in. He said, I don't really like the fact that everyone keeps asking to bring Griezmann. Yes, he's a good player, but we honestly have bigger problems than an attacker. Also, I missed when the stadium was called Exploria Stadium. Jimmy D, was his comment about playing players in their position. Can Poppy please play players in their position? Why is he always taking players and making them into different players? Spicer's a striker, Facundo is a right back. play them in their positions. Josh Elvey was John Josh Elvey responded to John Ames and said, "I was so happy when Fabrizio said he is not leaving Atletico until the summer. Wish we could use that money to support this young roster with 2 to 3 loud veterans. Kids need a leader on the pitch." Cool Rep one. Almost every successful team I've seen has a starting 11 from the first game of the season. People come off the bench when there's injury or tired, but not experimenting every game.
I would like to add something because it seems listening to the reading the comments, what I've seen in other shows, the social media, the fans know what's wrong with the club. So you cannot gaslight us, okay? You cannot spit on our cupcake and call it frosting. You can't do that. The fans know that we were in some sort of plateau, that we got lucky in many occasions, and that unfortunately that ounce of luck that we always talk about has run out. Bad seasons happen all the time, but many clubs, when the bad season comes around, has trophies, has history, has memories to fall back on. We don't have that, unfortunately. I have to say this: you have, like if you want to win, you do the things that enable you to win. You don't, if that was the case, then we will hold religious services outside of the stadium. If we're gonna leave things to fate, we can do that. We can throw chicken bones or shells or tea leaves to be read by mystics to figure out how to play football. Sounds ridiculous what I'm saying, because it is. Just like it's ridiculous to put Spicer as a number 9 on Saturday. What are we what are we thinking here? What are we thinking here? We've run out of ideas. We don't know how to create a winning culture, and we have a manager. Luis Musi screwed us. Luis Musi, a guy that I had a ton of respect for. On his way out, he took a dump on our bed and just basically covered it up with a blanket and let us figure it out. You sabotage the club, and you sabotage Ricardo by doing that. I mean, signing a man for 3 years when you are on your way out has set us back. And again, the Wolves are money people. Well, guess what? I'm money people too. That's part of my job. And I have to tell you this: if you have to do a study of correlation for profit and loss, listen, whatever you have to pay Oscar to get rid of him is gonna be less than what that empty stadium is gonna look like. Because you know why MLS? I just figured this out. MLS never puts us on the Sunday game, on the big show, right? Unless we're playing Miami. Unless we're playing Miami, we're never on that on the Sunday game. We're never there. Why? Because we are not a draw. We don't have the big name recognition. We don't have the big time players. And when this club starts tanking, that stadium is not gonna look good for TV. It's not gonna look good for TV. And I'm telling you, I was here in 2017, 2018, 2019, and I'm here to tell you, these fans will vote with their wallet. The renewals from people that I had known that have been season ticket holders, season 20, Society 21, people that have been here since 2011 that walked away, and I should have, but I actually love this club too much. But like I said, you are you know what I was greeted with on my email, something about a $45 T-shirt.
At least
Forty
it was
five
only
dollars.
45 and not 70.
Yeah, 45. Yeah, exactly. $45. Yeah, that's a $70 T-shirt. with a lion with six toes or in one paw. It's whatever. And they sent out the email. I think next month there's gonna be like a barbecue or something to meet the players.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna go.
Thursday.
Is this Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought to myself, "Wow, thanks for the head notice."
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
for
see.
sure. Like we don't have lives.
Oh
All
no,
right.
they probably put it
I'll
at
see
a
if I
five
can make it.
at like 4 to 6 o'clock, like they always do.
Yeah, it's like on a Thursday at like 7 to whatever, whatever.
No,
Because
at least
because
it's
we know
7
that
o'clock.
making it downtown during the week is easy.
Hold on, let me see. I'll
Last
find it.
year, if you remember, they started everything at like 5 p.m. and it's like,
Because John, people don't have jobs.
yeah,
They don't have
Yeah,
kids in
it is
school.
Thursday, April 9th. No, I'm sorry, Thursday, April 9th from 5:30 to 8.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
took
So
a month
so
for
they
that.
have this event.
Yeah.
It's bold. I mean, I give you the microphone after this. That's bold. That is very bold. You do not want people like me there. You don't. I noticed that they stopped sending me the questionnaires at the end of games. I noticed that I don't know if this is by design. I noticed that my rep is not calling me to ask me how things are going. I noticed a lot of things. One of the main complaints that people are saying is it doesn't feel like you used to back in the USL era, back in the early days of the MLS, where it felt that we were a little tribe, that we were us against the world. And you know what? Maybe in the NFL, people don't need that, but this is not the NFL. The Wills need to put that through their thick head already. This is not the NFL. This is football. This is real football. We have a culture. We have traditions. We have a lot of things that bind us as a. Listen, I know of people that got season tickets, sat with strangers for the last decade. There's people that have gone married out of those sections. There's people whose kids have gone married out of those sections. There's people that are vacation with those dudes. Like strangers became family, became friends. I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen couples come out of it. Children today owe the fact that mom and dad met on the terraces. To a lot of us, this is more than 22 men kicking a ball. I was told, oh, people at the front office, they're listening, they're taking notes. Are they really? Because listen, I have better things to do than once a week start giving you the obvious, start giving you pointers. Okay, if in the future, if you continue to take our idea as front office, we're gonna have to charge you what is that a consultant fee, because podcast right now nobody's covering this club. Not kudos to Mike Gramajo, who with traditional television still out there. But Mike Gramajo has been covering this club since he was in high school, since he was the only guy showing up to practice way back in 2011 to write for his high school paper. Okay, and by the way, he lived in Osceola County. He was going to Seminole to watch a bunch of people that I never heard of and write about him. The fact of the matter is, this traditional media has abandoned this club. Is us, the fans, the fans. All the podcasts you see, there are people with real jobs that once a week sit down to talk about this club. I don't know what else to say. We're not gonna dissect this game because there's nothing to dissect. We lost 5-0 in a baseball pitch, and they
And then,
clowned
and,
us.
then, and then David, and then the media team went and made us look like a bunch of buffoons
Oh my
by not
god.
even acknowledging the score and blacking it out.
Okay, about that, because I'll give you the microphone. I gotta say this real quick, John. The beat writer that covers Maccabi Haifa, we follow each other, and he contacted me. If you follow me on X, you will see me from time to time going back and forth in Hebrew with people, right? And this guy rarely comments on what's going on in Orlando City. because he watches MLS, but he usually is to write about Israeli players in the league. And he said that that was an embarrassment. That and I saw it not only in Israel, I saw it throughout Europe, Latin America. It would have been better. It would have been better to just put 5-0 and be done with it. But I understand why our social media was trying to do that, because the reality is, how do you recover for that total humiliation? But at the end of the day, guys, the point is this: is that the club can still save the season if they decide to do so. But if they are going to ignore it and let it go, they are going to find out that we're gonna hit him in the pocket, and after that, there's no coming back. Because if you lose the casuals, they're not coming back, and if you anger the season ticket holders, they're not gonna they might think about it, and this is discretionary expense. I don't have to spend 500 plus dollars on plus parking plus all this other stuff on this. If I were to put all the money that I spent on football in an account, it will be growing interest. I probably could retire in 5 years, but I don't, because this is my passion. I love the sport and all that. And I'm sorry I'm ranting, because I think I'm going in circles. Um, Once again, the solution is very obvious. It's very obvious. You guys know the solution. I know the solution. It needs to be done this week. If you don't, and I'm saying it, record it, clip it. If we have 10 points or less by the end of this month, there's unless you decide to bring Superman and Batman to the pitch, it's on. There's no way. And if our season is over in April, where's the incentive of going to the? Where's the incentive to go to games? Leagues Cup? We're gonna go show up for that nonsense?
Can you
Open Cup?
imagine? Can you imagine us playing like this in Leagues Cup?
We're gonna wish we lose 5-0. I'm gonna
Oh
let
my
you go ahead
god.
and go ahead because I got another tangent to go on.
I mean, you know what? I feel like we beat it to death. Honestly, it's not a roster issue, because if it was a roster issue, um, you could sign anybody. If you had, like David said, Batman and Superman, everybody here, we may not have lost 3 matches, but we would still have the same issues that we've had for the last 3 years, right? It would be disguised better, but it would still be the issues. This game is played by 11 players, right? And you learn from a very early age that you cannot have one or two people carrying the whole team, because you can, but that's very short lived. And in our case, the issue, as I stated earlier, and we've all stated, it's not a rostering issue. And honestly, the whole thing with Graceman, I think it's great that he doesn't come now, because him coming now is going to be disappointing, because you're not going to put him in there and expect a turnaround. The turnaround does not come from one person. The turnaround comes from a strategic approach and a change in how you do things. The way we're losing these games on numbers is shocking, but on strategy, it's not, right? Yes, the score lines are what's catching attention, but we've done this to ourselves. How many times are we ahead and we say, don't get too excited, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to park the bus and try to hold on. And that's what we've been doing. Hello, we lost to the Red Bulls. They lost to Montreal. Somebody please explain that to me, when we're saying the one game in the next 10 that we thought was our possible winnable game was Montreal, right? So I don't even know what to tell you. You need to bring back like an all-star team for us to see a change. And even then, you know what's going to be the excuse? They're going to need time to gel. So I'm personally just tired of it, because nobody else seems to need that time to gel, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, and if you're not, as a fan, you need to get your head examined. I think I've always said the issue is that we as a fan base are divided. We all need to want the same thing. We all need to expect more from our team. And if we don't do that, the only way they're going to learn is, to David's point and my point earlier in the in the episode a couple of weeks ago, they're gonna learn when it hits them in the pocketbook. Because you know what? If they're about the money, you know what doesn't sell? Empty seats on a game, especially when you're watching it on TV. And they'll start giving away tickets, and you'll see the wall sold out, or you'll see specials for tickets. That's not the team trying to reach out. That's desperation. Just it is what it is. So yeah, let's move on.
I'm honestly looking forward to being able to breathe on the wall again.
Oh, please.
But no, I was going back and forth on whether I was gonna do this because of something kind of a disagreement me and my dad had, and it really got me thinking of where, you know, it's just something I got to get off my chest, address to the Wilfs. That yes, is this a sport? Is soccer a sport? Yes, of course it is. But with everything that went on this past week and across the world in our sport, I felt like right now was the time to address it. That this isn't just a sport. There's a reason this is called the beautiful game. There's a reason you have scenes, whether you think they're good or bad or indifferent, that you had in Scotland on Sunday, or the fight that happened in Brazil. You don't get that in other sports. Yeah, you have little scuffles in American football and baseball and basketball and even in hockey, but you never get what the passion that you get with our sport, with the sport of soccer, the sport of football. When my 4-year-old son, I have to explain to him after the Miami match, because he's on the brink of a mental breakdown about how he doesn't understand how we lost when we scored 2 goals in the first half. And I have to explain to him, and I believe, Mark, you're a father too. You know how hard it is when your kid's crying and upset over something to not get upset yourself. I was more mad after that Miami match than I have been in my entire life about something. And people that say, "Oh, you take it too serious, you take it whatever." No, I bleed for this club. Go look at the tree. My blood's on the tree in the lot. I wailed on a tree for a good 10 seconds. I was so mad. And if you want to treat this like an NFL franchise, you're going to be ran out of town before you know what hit you. There's going to be 10,000 people in the stands on Saturday if you're lucky. I am not going to be one of them. I'm not going to have to explain to my son why our team sucks when it's your fault, Mark, your fault, Ricardo, and your fault, Poppy. We'll go to Disney. I'll keep up with it on my phone. I'll watch the replay or the highlights. But I'm so happy that that I was right and did not waste my money on season tickets. Because I saw this day coming 3 seasons ago. I said, maybe it's not going to happen now. I'm pretty sure, David, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure when we started going on the run, I said, this is great, but what if he can't turn it around 1 year? And that 1 year started back in September when we won our last game, or in October, whatever month that was. Mark, this isn't just a sport. Ask Ricardo. Ricardo and his family lives and breathes the sport. They're supporters of, I don't recall the club in Brazil they're supporters of, but they're supporters of a club in Brazil that lives and breathes this sport. They should understand how it is. If you can't trust your GM to give you the proper advice how to run this team that lives and breathes this sport, then you need to sell the damn team. Because this is absolutely ridiculous, unacceptable, and uncalled for. You came into this organization saying you were going to bring exciting soccer and trophies to this club, and you have done the exact opposite. The one trophy we won was not on your dime. Was not on your dime, Mark. That was on the previous ownership's dime. So either buck up and start spending money, you selfish billionaire, or sell the damn team because I'm done with it.
All right. Let's. I guess we can move on to the preview for. Or let's talk about some happy notes. OCB won their second game yesterday. Um, I thought they looked very good. Um, Justin Alice, why he's not playing first minute teams, first team minutes is beyond me at this point. I mean, what's the harm? I say foolishly and naively. Taifi, why is he not playing in the first team? I mean, could had he hurt? Can he hurt more if we put the overachievers at OCV in the first team at this point? I don't think so. I mean, if we are going to be in the business of throwing stuff at a wall and see what sticks, let's give the kids a chance. The reality and about what's happening is that the season just started. We're on game 4, and we're already thinking it's over. And John is correct. We years ago, when people kept saying Oscar's the best that we ever had, do you want to go back to the 28 to 2018, 2019? Do you want to go back to losing? We're there. We're there. I got news for you. We're there. Okay. We have not won a single game since September of last year. It's March. It's March, my friends. It's March. Okay. That's what matters. Since that magical run when we came from behind and we defeated Nashville 2-1 here at home. We have lost and lost and lost and lost every single time. We said, "Hey, perhaps it's time for new changes, this and that." Oh, you don't have any faith. You don't have any faith. They're gonna come back. They're gonna. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on the comeback. I'm still waiting on the comeback. We're here. I honestly, once again, I put it out there. If the problem is the buyout, Mark, and today we're gonna hammer you, bro. We're gonna hammer you. No mercy, Mark. The problem here is you did not live through 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019. We did. The man that you're seeing on the screen, we did. We know how bad that was. And you know how many years it took to win those people back? It took the Open Cup. It took winning the Open Cup for people to even consider coming back to the stadium.
And even then, it wasn't enough, David.
Right. That is very true. We had the opportunity to go to an MLS Cup final, and we laid an egg against Red Bull at home. Why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because every team here has tons of film on us, and I'm gonna tell you guys this one thing that I was discussing with a friend this past week. Um, when Inter Miami got rid of Tata Martino, who won them a supporter shield, they got rid of him. I was like, man, that has to be the most pompous thing anybody can do. The guy won you a supporter shield, and you get rid of him. But they were right. Look at what Atlanta is doing right now. They thought they were gonna catch the lightning again, and they are there right at the bottom with us. They haven't won a game in 3. People are already calling for his head. So that tells you that Tata was the man. That people were like, "Oh, he needs to coach the national team. He needs to go to EPL. He needs to do all of the things." Look at him now. It's not so easy when you build a roster illegally and get away with it, right? It's not that easy. So I have to tell you, that in this 90 minutes tonight are about the same thing. It's a call for help to our ownership to do what's right to try to save the season. It can be done. I have witnessed it. I have watched enough football the last 32 years to know that it can be done that way. The other one is the fact that if money's an issue, you're about to learn. Oh God, you're about to learn how Orlando fans punish when they decide not to show up. I'm telling you right now. And I don't want us to go there because I just don't think that we can come back from that. I really don't. I really don't, guys. I don't think that we can come back from that. Um, in
OCB
David,
though.
go ahead, John.
Um, what you were saying about playing the young guys, at least they'll show pride in the badge. I was just by chance. Luke and I went to the match last night with my family. Luke went with me and my family to the match. Let me rephrase it. We were going. Luke texted and asking if I was going, and we ended up going together. But he asked who a player was, who number 41 was, and happened to be Dylan Judelson, whose father was sitting 2 rows in front of us, and he just kind of cracked a joke. Hey, that's my son. Watch what you say, type of deal. Funny guy, and talked to him a little bit, and told him how I love coming to the matches. And he's like, "Yep, these guys have fun." I said, "It's one of the things I love about, especially the teams the last couple of years, is they've been all academy kids. Came up through our academy for at least a couple years, and they really take pride in wearing the badge, and the badge really carries some weight with them." And he goes, "I know, it's incredible." And people want to talk about what can turn this season around. Get some young guys up there threatening these guys that think they have their positions won. you
Yeah.
know get a Caraballo in there to threaten Pasalic, because at this point, the way Pasalic has been playing, cool, he scored against Miami. The way Pasalic has been playing, I think Caraballo could do better.
Yeah. But
The way Brexel,
you know what it is though too, John. When we say that, then people will come back with the argument. Well, you see, it is the roster, right? If you had different players, it's not that it's the roster. It's he would play differently if he had different players, right? And they play differently. So it's not just a roster issue, because then when we say, because I am one of the first people to say give those kids minutes, because I hate more than anything seeing them get their minutes when we're on international break, and it's like they have their 30 seconds of fame because we have no choice, and then they look lost because that's their first chance and they haven't had that time.
you know,
But it doesn't make it a roster issue when we're saying to put them in, right? It's because we're in a situation where you're throwing whatever you can at it, right? Because what we're trying to do normally isn't working, right? So I just want
yeah,
to be clear
No,
on
no,
that.
for sure. And one of the things is that Oscar
job
doesn't.
is to keep the players motivated,
Mm-hmm.
and that's this coaching staff obviously has failed to do that this season. So if it's not going to come from the coaching staff, have a 17, 18-year-old kid threaten these professional. One thing that good teams have, period, whether it's Milan, Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Man City, is competition for spots. When you have players that think that they have a cushy spot on the roster and can't be touched, that leads to complacency, and that leads to negative results. And these players know with Poppy, if and maybe it's a front office thing too, or ownership thing too, that, oh, I'm getting paid this much, I'm going to start no matter what. And
Yeah.
until this team starts showing the hunger, start showing the pride for the badge, which some of the players do. Actually, one of the players that shows the most is the newest player on the team, and Dorsey.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say that.
And if that doesn't tell you something, I mean, we have Martino Hayda. This is what, his fourth season on the team, just looking like he's out there for which I wouldn't have said last year, but he just looks like he's out there for a jog. Yeah, he gets it. Like I was watching a compilation on social media of hard tackles. When's the last time outside of Dorsey we've seen one of our players make a tackle and jump up and celebrate like they just won the World Cup?
No,
Two,
I got a huge issue with that, John. We are seeing absolutely no passion. Dorsey. I gotta tell you this: Dorsey is the second coming of Adrian Vinter. I really like the dude. I can see why Houston fans love the guy. And if I am him, I am reconsidering if I made the right decision at this point. I really do. I really do. Houston is a fine town. Uh, Texas, has the same financial incentives as Orlando. Houston has similar weather, so I'll probably would be thinking, what am I doing here? If I came here to a team that all they do is lose. Um, I I think the Oscar has a really bad tracking record with our youngsters. Some of the players that end up playing, I think, have been by necessity. If it's not for injuries, Alex Freeman probably would have never been given the opportunity. And yes, I'm gonna be biased. When I see Wilfredo Rivera in Argentina kicking balls, I'm like, well, how come he was never given the opportunity here? When I see Wilfredo Rivera playing for the Puerto Rico national team, yes, U.S. territory, beating the little islands. But, they had a friendly against Argentina, and he ate their lunch. So much so that Barracas offered him a contract to play in the first division of Argentina. That's how much Argentinians, they rarely give praise to people that are not Argentinians. Okay, and if you think that they will never go after their own, you haven't seen the social media after Messi went to see our president. Whew. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. By the way, this personal opinion. While Messi and I, he plays for an opponent. I will never give him praise. Anybody that's not with me when we were playing against them, heard my voice. I threw so many curses. I probably need to come up with new material because I burned all my zingers that night. But the fact of the matter is, if you're gonna elevate a drug addict like Maradona over a man that is a family man that has never had any controversies cheating on his wife or beating women or having children out of wedlock, just because you hate the politician that he went to see on an event that is an American tradition, then by all means. But anyways, the Argentinians don't give praise like that, and they were crazy about Wilfredo Rivera. They got him. We had him here, Orlando City Academy product, and don't start me with Williams. You guys know that's a sore point with me and John. As a sore point, I probably will never get over it. I still say, Williams could have been serviceable, could have been an option. Now that we're in this trouble that we created ourselves, because once again our manager seems to be running out of ideas. And I gotta give you a bold prediction since we're wrapping it up. I'm gonna give you guys a bold prediction, and I'm not the type of guy that loves the I told you so's and look at me how smart I am. None of those things. What's gonna happen Saturday at 7:30 at 655 West Church Street? Maybe our worst home defeat in the history of our club. If Oscar Pareja comes out of that tunnel this Saturday, which in my opinion he should have been told that he relieved from his duties last night. If he comes out and the club does not make a decision that same night, I gotta do something bold. Count me out. I rather lose every single dollar that I already paid for season tickets. I'd rather lose every single dollar than go and witness this mayhem. If you think that somehow the sky's gonna open and you know a messiah like figure is gonna come and rescue us. Football is cruel and unpredictable. This is the cruelest sport there is, and I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see it.
Yeah, back to the OCB match though. Um, sorry, David. Um,
It's okay, brother.
yeah, the boys look good. Actually brought home a win, 2-1. Um, the biggest surprise of the night, honestly, was Justin Ellis, and the way he looked physically. You guys can see, those watching can see it in the photo. He's number 22. The dude's leaned out. I'm not saying he was, big or fat or anything last year, but he was, a bigger player as far as soccer goes. We said one of the his downfalls is his speed and quickness. Was one of the quickest players on the field last night. One of the fastest players on the field last night. Um, Showed his skill with the ball multiple times. The goal he had was a thing of beauty. Caraballo came in as a sub, and what a talent he is. The confidence that guy has in his ability is incredible. Um, Overall a good match. It's hard watching them sometimes because they are playing Poppy's system, and it's like Luke made the point that Chicago just seems to get to the end product way quicker and way more efficiently than we do. Um, they seem to value possession a little more than we did at times last night. But overall, it's always a good time out there, even when they lose. It's just a nice night away. I'd say, is the best way to put it. Just pure soccer, none of the extra hoopla of the senior team match. Um, and Fun time. Guys played good. Um, Not much else to say there. Can't wait to catch them in 2 weeks at the big stadium playing Enter Fort Lauderdale too.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the OCB games, and for those season ticket holders, this is a good reminder. If you are a season ticket holder, remember you do get uh, free tickets to all of the OCB uh, matches. So this is probably one of the best, if not the best, time to take advantage of it, because what you will be missing out on in our first team, this will definitely make up for it. Those are always good matches. So
And you'll never question the passion of these guys.
no.
Like I was saying earlier, Juddelson's dad and I was talking, and um, you'll never question their passion. You see it; they take every loss to heart. Um, and they. It's why there's so many comebacks. I mean, David can attest to it. How many times have we been 2-0 down and came back and pulled it square? At least,
Hmm.
um, you never really feel like the team's out of it. It's sloppy at times, but again, it's a bunch of 17 to
It's a lot of fun, man.
yeah,
Period. It's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Guys, since we're
And
we're closing here.
real quick,
Yeah,
real
brother.
quick. I know there's some confusion. How do you? I've seen it on social media. How do you access the tickets as a season ticket member? Because I'm not one this year,
You
so
know
I
what?
don't know.
That's a good
You know?
question. I'm not 100% sure. But I will find out and I'll see if I can post something on
Yeah,
our social
please
about
do. I actually looked, and I did not say. I believe you have to request them, if I'm not mistaken.
it. Do you? That would make sense.
Yes, but I will reach out to my my rep and figure that out. One thing that I just want to. I'm sorry, I have so many things here in the background. One thing that I wanted to find out was that the situation with OCV. The other one is encourage everybody to go if this opportunity at playing Inter Miami too. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Besides, those guys need the support. Our club needs the support from top to bottom. These are the future stars, and you know we were watching. People love Alex Freeman, but we got to experience him at OCV, and when he made the jump, it wasn't shocking. Do we have any messages? Any posts before we wrap
Yeah,
it up?
we have a couple of messages from Instagram.
Yeah,
Owen Brackett had said, "We need depth." He said, "Without Janssen, we have no back line. We need some serious depth in the back, and we need another striker and better service to Duncan." And then he goes on to say, "The Will family needs to sell. They're using this team as a tax write off for the awful NFL team. If they're not going to spend the money to bring a championship quality team, then please sell it." And then he says, "The wall needs to sit silent, completely silent, no drums, no chants, just sit and watch." And then he says, "Agreed, sell."
yeah. We,
And
we
you know,
tried that before. We were told
yeah,
to mind our business, to shut up, and here we are. Here we are.
yeah,
Here we are. LA Galaxy did this for a full season. They said they stay home. The support Sector Latino, the supporter group for Chicago Fire, did the same thing. Those are bold. Those are bold moves. But when we ask about stay home, do this, do that, people are like, "Well, who's gonna pay for my West Club ticket?" You're the one that put yourself there. Enjoy the coconut shrimp. Enjoy the pizza, whatever the hell else they are having. This,
Cocktails.
yeah, exactly. If you're that desperate for good food, go to a restaurant. You're going. If you're concerned about your $4,000 ticket while seeing diarrhea on the pitch, by all means, go ahead. I make too much money to care about the $550 that I pay for my ticket. So at this point, I could use that. Buy my wife diamonds or something. I certainly need to make up for the amount of time that I waste following this waste man around. But what do I know? I love football, and
Well,
I don't know
and
how to quit.
David, it's not even for me. Like for me personally, it's not even the money because you can go on StubHub right now and get 3 tickets for the match Saturday, which is again why I didn't do the season tickets.
For
You can get
$15.
for $15 a
Yeah.
piece. You know, and you take the season tickets and you average them out over 17 matches for the wall. It was going to be a little over $20 a piece. So that's part of the reason we didn't do it. But part of the reason I'm very strongly considering the only reason we would go Saturday is if Barrett asks.
He's going to, and I love the kids, man. The children, they don't know any better. They just know that if they cheer really, 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 really hard, things will happen. That's why I love sports. It just teaches you that sometimes you can't have all the will in the world and all the love in the world and all the passion in the world. That's not enough. Well,
Yeah, and
football is
that
cruel.
was the hardest thing last Sunday to explain to him. Is he was like, "Dad, I did really good. I watched the team. I supported the boys. I chanted, and they didn't." Sorry, did I blink out there for a second?
Yeah, I lost you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me.
What I was saying is, why am I going to go there? And it's not just the 2 hours of the match, because we show up and we make a day out of it. We tailgate. We have, me and my family. Even if it's just us, we bring we bring hamburgers, hot dog, whatever, something to grill, and make a day of it. Barrett plays in the lot because we have a little area set aside for us that cars really don't come, so he can kick a soccer ball around and um for Christmas, my dad got him a mini net that we set up out there, and he kicks the ball in there, and we make a day of it. So if I'm going to spend 6-7 hours just to end in disappointment, I'd rather go to Disney and get mad at a bunch of tourists that don't know how to walk, or go to SeaWorld, or go to the beach and go fishing, because it's not like this season. It's gotten to the point where it's not showing up and supporting the boys, because why am I going to give them my I'm not going to give people that don't care my support. you know I'd rather go do something that's more self-fulfilling than that.
That's the cruelty of club football. You can give all your money, all your time, all your love, and not be rewarded. I think as a fan base, we have done so much of that, and we have received so little while watching other people do the bare minimum and lift the biggest trophy in the land. I don't know. Sometimes why not us? Why not me? But football will reward us one day, and like I always tell my anybody that has ears, our day will come, and none of this will matter. I would like to head into the closing with your dad, John, who posted something that is dead on, and I will take the liberty to read it. Our good friend Ray, in MLS, just making playoffs is bad season, and not making playoffs is an awful season. And Ray, you nailed it. Imagine not making imagine finishing dead last in the league. That's where we are right now. You know what happens if we lose Saturday? We're dead last.
We're already dead last.
No, no, that's what I'm saying. Nothing changes. Truly, there's only one way but up at this point. That's it. I personally, David Valentin, your friend David Valentin, who has never steered you wrong, feels that's it. Oscar has played his last card. The account is on overdraft. That's it. And I'm not. There's a lot of people, a lot of good people that defended Oscar with shield, sword, and cape, who have thrown their arms down and said, "I can't."
Maybe
And,
some of the other teams will lose bad enough that they'll push us up just by goal differential alone.
right, right.
In the East,
And my
the
fear,
only team that's there is Atlanta
Yeah.
that could affect. And honestly, if we lose Saturday, that means we're going to be at least a -9. That means Atlanta, if I recall,
They're
their
negative
goal
five.
differential, they have to lose by at least 6, if I recall
I
Yeah.
correctly.
gotta tell you this, guys. If Atlanta fires Tata Martino this Saturday, the guy that gave them an MLS Cup, and we keep Oscar, there's no need for us to do another show to talk about this. Because
Um,
if Atlanta, who consider the man a legend, goes and does that, and hires the man that I said they should have hired, which is Orlando City legend Rob Valentino. Which I tell you what, if you're not willing to go for a big name, you want to go cheap. Mark, I'm gonna give you a hint. Rob Valentino. Three
can
things
you
you manage
imagine?
to do with
Oh
that.
my
You
God.
pander to the USL crowd. You go cheap, and you actually get a talented manager who, right now, by the way, for those that don't know, is working with U.S. Soccer, coaching the youth. But he's the only man that went out there with a bunch of nobodies and took Messi and the Barca boys out of playoff contention, only losing to us, only losing to us by the minimum 1-0. So I'll leave it at that. Final words from me because uh, I don't think I contributed anything to the show other than my bitterness. It's very rich when you go on LinkedIn and you see your employees brag about selling out the stadium and do all that. I understand Orlando City is a business, LinkedIn is a platform for business, and you gotta celebrate your achievements, and I'm happy with that. You sold out those two games. Guess what? I don't think you're going to if we drop points this Saturday. Even if we win, if we continue in the direction that we are going to, because our schedule right now sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like it's like going Freddy Krueger, Jason, who else? The Walking Dead zombies. I mean, like the who's who of villains. That's who we are. We're going down a hallway, slaying dragons, and
Yeah, real quick, if I can, David. After Montreal, um, I'll just go our next four matches after Montreal. We're on the road in Nashville, on the road in against LAFC, on the road against Columbus. We have four straight away matches. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Or no,
wait a minute,
sorry,
we're going on
three
the
straight.
road to LAFC.
On the road to LAFC,
Oh
on the
yeah,
road to
that's seven
Columbus,
0 I'm
and then
telling you
we're
right
home
now.
against Houston on April 18th. That's our next four.
LAFC. If you're an LAFC fan and for some reason you catch this, get your tickets. Get your tickets. You are walking into. I guarantee you're never gonna have. It's gonna be a home game for the ages. If Oscar's still here, and I keep saying that because our sources were like dead on, like he's gone. He's still here. He's still
What
here.
do you guys think that they'll actually take action?
I pray.
At
I
this
want to
point,
think the best of people, but words without action is ink on paper.
Uh, I don't know.
at
I
this
don't
point,
think
I
they're
don't
gonna.
think they will.
I don't.
I really thought after the Miami match they would. I really thought that um, after Saturday's debacle we would. I don't think it matters,
I think
you
we're
know.
in this for the long haul.
And
Gonna
back to
be,
what I was saying before, if they don't care, I don't care, and I'll just stop showing up and
yeah.
stop paying them.
And that's what's good. That's honestly, I think that's unfortunately the point it's gonna get to for them to do anything. Because if you don't have people in the seats, that's when you get their attention. You're not gonna get their attention as far as the sport goes. But when there's empty seats and people aren't coming, regardless of what you do to fill them, business is business, right? At that
And it's
point.
going to take a lot for me to start to come back too.
Yeah, I know. Agreed.
Well, I want to thank the 51 people that have watched us live
Yes.
tonight. For everybody, remember that they're 53 now. For everybody, we're on audio. You can find us wherever you consume your audio. This will be available in the morning. Also, remember that we actually have a second show. Uh, you know, extra time in 90 minutes podcast on Wednesdays. Be on the lookout with that. It's John and whoever is available at that point. I got things to do, so I can stay. I can stay later after we're done here. It's 10:40. But at the end, guys, whatever happens, we got it. We got one another. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. People that are gonna watch this later on, thank you very much. And it's just this is just part. Seasons are peaks and valleys, and right now we are in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. No, no, we're at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Okay, that cannot get lower than this. And with this club, I have been through bad, and this is bad, 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 bad. So thank you, Jared. Appreciate that, my guy. Final words, my friends.
Do something.
That's the only thing you can say at this point, man. Just do something. do something, change something, just make a change or make the
Oh,
change.
real quick, sorry. My last words is at least Atlanta United gave us something to laugh at this week. For those that didn't see, they had a horrible tifo, and then when they tried to raise it, they couldn't even raise it correctly.
You mean the Tifa Queen failed finally?
Oh,
That what was it? Who's that tire manufacturer that the, they had a commercial?
I'm not sure.
They had a commercial with that lady that. And I'm sorry, our tifos are are created by talented people. She was just getting. I mean, when the club is giving you money, and basically you're an employee, you're not. I mean, what do I know? It was funny, but at the same time, they got to start over the batch so they can hold that over ourselves any day of the week. So there you go. Oh, and they have real grass now. They got real grass.
For the time being.
Yeah. Well,
all right. With that, we're gonna wrap it up. Reminding you that the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you ever really footballed? For the whole crew here, including Luke and Misael that couldn't be with us tonight, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando!